experience, my weekly live stream where I get to talk and chat with you guys about movies for as long as we want. Just talking about movies, talking about Nicolas Cage films tonight on the show. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my camera still. How is everybody doing tonight? It is Sunday, January the 10th. God, we're already 10 days in to 2021. How is everybody's year doing so far? Yeah, I see Sam in the chat said, "Did you get a haircut, Ken?" Well, yes, I did, Sam. Every now and then I have to get one. I try to get one at least 2 to 3 times a year. So that's why you'll see me a little unkempt most of the time. But how is everybody doing? We got some people in here. We got, let's see. Let's say hello to everybody. Let's say hello. I'm seeing Tony Movie Chappie. What's up, Tony? How are you doing tonight? My computer is just going haywire tonight, so I might have to use this up here to talk to you guys. Let's see, we got Sam in here. What's up, Sam? Robert Ford, hello. What is up, Robert Ford? Film Geeks, what's up, man? Speaking of Nicolas Cage, did you watch The History of Swear Words? Yeah, that's actually what inspired this episode tonight, was talking about Nicolas Cage, because I did watch all 6 episodes of the History of Swear Words, and it was Nicolas Cage's birthday, I believe, last Thursday. I think his birthday was last Thursday. So yeah, I thought it would be a good subject to just kind of dive into. We'll get into that a little bit later. I've got some other topics and stuff that I want to talk about. We'll probably get into the Nicolas Cage films probably around 10 o'clock or something like that. But basically, it's just a topic show, guys. We're talking about Nicolas Cage films, whatever your favorites are in his filmography, list them in the chat. I'll call them out. We'll talk about them for very briefly. I was going over a lot of Nicolas Cage films before I came into here. I actually watched a 90 films ranked series on YouTube that went through all of his films and ranked them. There's a lot of Nicolas Cage films that I have not seen. He has done a lot of films. I think he's made like 91 movies, so it's nuts how many movies that guy has made. There's still so many that I need to see. So let's see here. But yeah, I will be talking about the History of Swear Words as well. Tony Movie Chappie said, "Hey Ken, how have you been? How have you been, man? How you been doing?" Let's see, Sam Jr. Hey Tony, hey Sam. Mitchell Movie Man says, "Hey, what is up, Mitchell? How you doing tonight?" Sam Jr. said, "My favorite Nicolas Cage movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse." I actually have that in my stack over here. I can bring it out real quick because I was trying to stack up as many physical media copies of Nicolas Cage films that I had. And yeah, he's great in that movie. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know if it'd be my favorite, but it's probably up there. I mean, he is great. He's got kind of a renaissance in the past few years. But just kind of starting tonight, guys. Just what has everybody been watching? What has everybody been playing? Have you been playing any cool games? Have you been watching any cool movies, TV show, reading any good books? Go ahead and call that out in the chat, and we can kind of talk about that for a little bit. I've been doing my 1999 series on Instagram, Party Like It's 1999 in 2021. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of 1999 movies. I watched The Matrix. I watched The Virgin Suicide. I watched Being John Malkovich last week for the first time. This is directed by Spike Jonze, who also directed the film Her with Joaquin Phoenix. Written by Charlie Kaufman, who also wrote the film I'm Thinking of Ending Things on Netflix earlier this year. This is a fantastic movie. If you watched or read my review on Instagram, I gave it a 9.75 out of 10. I love this movie. This is probably one of my favorite first-time watches in the past couple of years, probably like top 5. Absolutely loved it, connected with it on every level. Just a near perfect movie. It's so ahead of its time. This feels like one of those A24 films that would come out today and do pretty good with people, because there's a big audience for that now. But back then, I just couldn't imagine this movie coming out in 1999. Nobody knew what the hell was going on, I'm sure, in this movie. So if you've seen Being John Malkovich, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I absolutely love this film. Cameron Diaz is in it, just playing against type in every possible way. I don't even know how they dumb down her looks in this movie. She's almost unrecognizable as the Cameron Diaz that we know from the 90s. This is like the year after There's Something About Mary came out. John Cusack is great in this movie. Catherine Kinnear is phenomenal in this film. everybody's so good. It's a great cast. John Malkovich is great. Everybody's great in this movie. Definitely check this movie out if you have seen it, or if you haven't seen it. Let's see. Sam Jr. said, my favorite, I already read that. Film Geek says, I haven't seen a lot of Nick Cage, but National Treasure is the bomb. I haven't seen that in a while. That one came out in like 2004. I haven't seen that one in a while. I don't even know if I've seen the sequel, to be honest. Sam Jr. said he is great in it. Yep, Face Off, says Mitchell the Movie Man. That is the iconic. See, that's my era of Nick Cage that I grew up with. I grew up with The Rock, with Face Off, Con Air. Those are the Nick Cage movies that I grew up with and where I kind of got into him with. Robert Forzy says best Nicolas Cage movie to me is Face Off. Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people's favorite action film of all time. My favorite Nicolas Cage movie is personally is actually The Rock. Yeah, The Rock is great. That's one of my favorites as well. I need to watch that again, actually. Ken, have you seen the Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage? I have not, but I've seen the original Wicker Man, and it's fantastic. I love the original Wicker Man. Let's see here. I got to do something about my computer. It is all messed up. But yeah, if you guys have been watching anything good, did anybody watch The History of Swear Words on Netflix? Did you enjoy it? I rather enjoyed it. I wrote a review for that on my Instagram as well, if you want to check that out. Let's see. Tony Movie Chappie said, this week I watched The Blair Witch Project. Very interesting movie. Different. Definitely plan on reviewing it on my Instagram account very soon for Party of 1999. Awesome, man. Awesome. Good to have you joining the event. Yeah, The Blair Witch Project movie. I think I posted about that last night, actually. That movie, I think when it came out, I didn't love it when it first came out. It was, I don't know, it was okay. It was weird. I think I was underwhelmed because at that point I was like 14. I was really into like slasher films and Michael Myers and Halloween. And there's really not a lot to that movie, at least in terms of like blood and gore and all that stuff. It's more like atmosphere and just like this tension building and sense of dread all throughout the film. And then you get to the climax of the movie and it's a guy standing in the corner and then the girl falls down. That's it. Cuts to black. So I was very underwhelmed when I first saw it as a teenager. I watched it a couple of years ago and I watched it again like a year ago, I think. I absolutely love the movie now. It's still it kind of scares me. It creeps up on me. Great atmosphere though. Like I said, it's all tension building. I just love how they're walking around the woods and they keep walking around in circles and they don't realize it until it's too late. So yeah, Blair Witch Project is awesome. And it was just, back in 1999, that movie was the biggest freaking deal in the world. I remember, like, it was back when the internet was rolling in. People were getting online and stuff like that for the first time, and they started doing the viral marketing. There was like a website for it and everything. It was really creepy. Really creepy. Mitchell the Movie Man said, what's your Instagram? I don't have it down in the link yet, but on most of my YouTube videos I have it in the link, but it's Mid-Level Movie Reviews. I actually have 2 Instagram accounts. I got Mid-Level Movie Reviews where mostly I review the movies and stuff on that. And then I have Mid-Level Media, which is the same name as this YouTube channel. So you can follow me over there if you haven't already, man, and I'll follow you if I'm not. Tony Movie Chabby says, you're talking to me, Mitchell the Movie Man. Let's see. Nicolas Cage and Mandy, that was a crazy movie. Yes, that movie was pretty insane. I enjoyed that movie, though. I enjoyed that movie a lot. All right, guys, let's see here. I'm sorry I'm kind of disheveled right now because I usually have my laptop and it's working, but I have to get it up and running in order to see the chat. But bear with me for a second and we will get back on track with this episode of Ken's Movie Experience, is what I'm calling my new show. It's Ken's Movie Experience. It's where we come together and we talk about movies. I'm going to try, like I said last week, I want to add more structure to this show. It's not just a Q&A every week. Y'all come in here and ask me whatever, but actually have like pre-planned topics and things to talk about. This week, we're going to be talking about Nicolas Cage films coming up. I'm going to go through a lot of his filmography and stuff like that and just talk about it. And we just talked about kind of what we were watching this past week. I watched a lot of movies this past week. I watched something like 7 or 8 films, something like that. I think I watched, let's see, what else did I watch? I know I watched something new. I finished The Morning Show. on the Apple TV Plus. That was a really good show. I really enjoyed the ending of the morning show. It was a really strong ending, really strong show all the way through. I'm not saying it's like a great show. To me, like I love Succession. That was like a slightly lesser version of Succession to me, but it was still a great show. Everybody was great in it. Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston absolutely killed it. Like they took most of the work of that show was on their shoulders, and they did a fantastic job. Steve Carell's in it quite a bit, at least in the second half of the season. I know I said last week when I was talking about it that he wasn't in it a whole lot. He actually starts to become a bigger character in the show towards the end of it, or towards the second half of the show. So I enjoyed the morning show quite a bit. I'm trying to think what else I watched last week. I know I watched quite a bit. I watched the Bye Bye Man. I reviewed that on my page last night. That was a complete shit show of a horror movie. The reason I watched that movie was because I was planning to do a top 10 list on my channel of the top 10 worst January horror movies. And that was going to be what I was going to do. But then I thought, you know, I'll bring my audience into this, my subscribers. And I put up a poll and I said, do you all want me to do a top 10 worst January horror movies or a top 10 best January horror movies? Everybody voted for the best. So you know what? My job's a little bit easier now because it's a little bit easier to find the best movies and rank those versus like what's the worst or best or best shit show movie that came out in January. So you actually made my job a little bit easier, and I'll enjoy like going back and kind of revisiting those movies more than the shit show January horror movies for sure. So that video will be this week. I'll be doing my top 10 January horror movies, the best horror movies in January. And there's quite a few of them, actually. January's got like a bad stigma about it having like crap horror movies, but it's actually got quite a few good ones. So, all right, guys, let's see here. But yeah, I watched quite a bit last week. I watched Like Father, Like Son, which is one of my Mill Creek releases that I got sent to me, which I'll go over in a second. That was a pretty fun movie. It's got Kirk Cameron in it. It's got Dudley Moore. It's got a pretty good cast in it. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. But yeah, by far the best movie I watched last week was Being John Malkovich. But another thing that I got in the mail last week was I got this Best Movie Year Ever book. So it's kind of like a detailed book of everything that came out in the year of 1999. It just kind of goes through the whole year and talks about why it is widely considered one of the best years for film. So I'm looking forward to starting to read this at some point as well. And I'll go into just kind of running down some of my pickups that I got. Would you ask, Sam? Ken, have you seen the Ghost Rider movies? Yes, I have seen the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one either. But yeah, I have Ghost Rider right here. I don't love the Ghost Rider movies. I didn't love the National Treasure movies either. That whole era of Nick Cage getting into superhero movies, getting into kind of more family films, I kind of fell off. That's when I was kind of like, maybe he's not as good as I thought he was. And then he kind of went into that straight to VOD mode for like 10 years. Or he came out with some really bad movies. He came out with like Bangkok Dangerous and Knowing and Next. And I was just completely off the Nicolas Cage train at that point. So yeah. I didn't come back around until recently when he started doing movies like Mandy and Mom and Dad and all of that stuff. So going into some of my pickups from this week, and I plan to do reviews on both of these this week on the channel. The first one I got is Savage Streets. Now this is a Code Red release right here. And this is starring Linda Blair from The Exorcist. So this is an interesting looking film that I'm going to check out maybe tonight. Because I do need to start planning my review, but I will have a review for this on my channel this week. I'm also going to have a review for The Train, which is a new Kino Lorber release that came out this week, starring Burt Lancaster. So I've never heard of this film before I bought the release, but I want to get into reviewing more of these kind of niche boutique Blu-ray releases that come out. And yeah, this one looks interesting. It has a great cover. It's one of the rare Kino Lorber releases that has a slipcover with it. So that's actually pretty cool. And let's see, I got some Big Lots pickups, which a lot of these I showed off. If you watched my Blu-ray hunting video, you probably saw these. But yeah, let's see. I'm gonna try to get back in to my channel real quick. But I got the White Bird in a Blizzard Blu-ray right here. I got Big Bad Wolves. All these are $3, and this is Rescue Dawn. This was a Christian Bale movie. It's directed by Werner Herzog. So I've never seen this film before, so I'm actually excited to check that one out because I hear he's a pretty good director. And I got The Dark and the Wicked from Best Buy. A lot of people said this had Hereditary vibes, said it was kind of along those lines, so I am excited to check that one out for sure. I got Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx on 4K, so I'm excited to check this one out at some point. All right, let's see. These next four that I got from Mill Creek. They sent them to me, so I already did a video where I unboxed them all, but I got one that was new in, and I'll show off which one of those was new. But I'm going to show them off again just because I get these sent to me by Mill Creek to kind of review and show off to you guys. So I'll show them off one more time. This is Like Father, Like Son. And what's cool about these releases is they're in these cool like little retro VHS packagings. So that's pretty awesome. I don't know if you all are familiar with these. They sell a lot of them at Walmart. And they've been doing them for about 2 years too. So, but yeah, this one is Kirk Cameron, Dudley Moore. I watched this one. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed this one. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a pretty fun little lighthearted 80s comedy with a little bit of raunch in there. This one I'm hoping to watch this week, but Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. So that's an interesting starring lead role right there for Rutger Hauer. Not Balls of Fury, that's a different movie. Blind Fury. So yeah, I'll get into that one at some point. Then you got The Freshman with Marlon Brando and Matthew Broderick. That's a very unique combination right there. But I'm looking forward to watching that one. And then we got Crossroads with Ralph Macchio. So the kid from The Karate Kid, some kind of a drama, musical thing. I don't know, traveling cross country it looks like. This is the new one that I got because Mill Creek sent this one to me a little bit later. So, but yeah, those are all the things that I picked up this past week. Let's see. Let's go back up and get into the chat because now I have my laptop up and running again. All right, let's see. Thumbs up. Hi from Australia. Well, welcome, man. Welcome, Thumbs up. I'm glad you could join us from Australia. He said, I like Gone in 60 Seconds. Gone in 60 Seconds is a good one. It's a good one. It's one I haven't seen in a while. You definitely need to check the Wicker Man remake. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's hilarious. I love the original Wicker Man. I love the original Wicker Man. So I imagine I'll probably find some enjoyment out of that one for sure. Let's see. Thumbs up said, love the thrifting vids. Awesome, man. Did you watch my recent one that I dropped last night? I actually found some pretty good stuff in that last stop. The first couple of stops were pretty much bust, but the last one was pretty good. Thumbs up said, National Treasure movies were better than Ghost Rider movies. I would agree with that, even though I think I've only seen the first one of both of those. But both the National Treasure movies are on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken, so I do need to check those out at some point. Let's see. Thumbs up said, have you seen Kiss of Death? I have it, but haven't seen it yet. Any good? I've heard a lot of crazy things. I've heard that that's the most Nick Cage performance than any Nick Cage performance. And it's about, basically he thinks he gets bit by a vampire or something like that. And then he thinks that he's turning into a vampire the whole movie. And he's going like crazy and insane. But there's plenty of like funny clip. Every time somebody wants to pull out like a funny meme or clip from a Nicolas Cage movie, they get it from that film. Like he has so many crazy facial expressions in it, and it's one that I absolutely definitely need to check out. Sam Jr. said, what's your most anticipated 4K release of 2021? So tomorrow in the physical media report, there has been rumors swirling around the internet about all these 4K releases coming out. None of them have been 100% confirmed by the studios. There's all kinds of people putting out all of this stuff about this has been announced, that has been announced, this has been announced. It's all very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. I am going to be covering that tomorrow on the show. So that it won't be like announcements. I don't really love doing that. Just like covering like rumors and stuff. But there has been so many of them just in the past week. And I got to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on the Physical Media Report because there's so much stuff that they have been talking about over the past few days that it's ridiculous. And I definitely have to talk about it. Let's see. Mitchell the Movie Man said definitely 100%. So yeah, what are you guys looking forward to this week? Have you all heard about those rumors and stuff, the things that are coming out? What 4K release are you looking forward to? Because right now the one that's like in closest proximity is the 2012 4K release, you know, with John Cusack and everything. That one will be coming out, I think, in February. I think that comes out in February. Let's see. Yeah, Sam Jr. and hit one of them. I am excited for the Indiana Jones 4K. Yeah, that is the one that I saw going around the internet today. Indiana Jones on 4K. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead now, guys, and go ahead and talk about the history of swear words. Because I did kind of like a review or something, because I did watch it last week. I actually binged all 6 episodes in like, I don't know, I think it was like a day or something. I watched like 2 the night before, and then I watched 4 the next morning when I woke up. They were just very easy to knock out, very easy to binge, very watchable show. It's entertaining, it's informative, and it's also very funny. So I enjoyed the show for the most part. It basically takes you through like 6 different curse words, and they're all like the big ones. I don't know what they're going to do for season 2. I think the only thing that they left on the table to cover in season 2, actually there's 2 of them I can think of, is like hell and ass. Those are like the 2 big cuss words that they can bring back for season 2. Not a lot of longevity in that show series beyond a season 1, unless they start really pulling some stuff out of their butts. So as far as the show though, I thought it was very entertaining. I reviewed it on my Instagram. I gave it an 8 out of 10. If you're on the fence about watching it, it's fun. To be honest, it'll take you 2 hours to get through all 6 of the episodes. Nicolas Cage is not in the show as much as I would have liked him to be. But you know, when he's in it, he's strong, he's funny. He opens the show. The first episode of the show is the F word. It's fuck. Which is a very fitting and appropriate opener in my opinion. And that's just Nick Cage like in the open, like screaming into the heavens, the F word. And they go back and they like explain the origins, how they got started. And yeah, all that good stuff. So we got some people joining. We got Daniel. Bernice said Cleveland Browns destroying the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-10 at halftime. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm not a huge football guy, but I am happy if you are happy about that. Thumbs up said, nice chat, back to work. Keep up the cool movie collecting and vids. Awesome, man. Thank you for joining. J Cart Arts, love the collection. I keep up the great work, man. Great content. Yeah, man, you too. J Cart Arts has a great YouTube channel. He does a lot of the first time reaction videos. So definitely check him out. But yeah, back to the history of swear words. So there's some like fun animation sequences in there, but yeah, they're explaining like how the word started, going all the way back to like the 1500s and stuff in some cases, and then explain like how it evolved over time and like culturally and like what cultures use it in what way, and then like what it means today. And it's really interesting stuff. And then they have like a round table of comedians that come in there. You got Sarah Silverman, Nikki Glazier's in there. You got a little bit of Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec is in there as well. So yeah, it is a fun show. I enjoyed the show. I'm not saying it's like one of the best things I've seen, but it is one of the few like new things to come out in 2021. So I went ahead and binged it and watched it just so I could talk about it with you guys. So I would give it a 8 out of 10. So it's a solid show. It's a solid Netflix original show that I rather enjoyed. So with that, guys, we can go ahead and transition in to our main topic tonight, and that is Nicolas Cage films. I've got a lot of Nicolas Cage films written down already that I'm going to call out. Call out any of your favorites down below. We can talk about them. If there are any ones that you all haven't said yet, so maybe some deeper cuts from his filmography. So if you're just now joining us, because I got about 10 people in here right now, first off, go ahead and hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. And also, just we are talking about right now, we are talking about the best of Nicolas Cage's filmography, or the worst, depending. I mean, he's done a lot of really bad movies. It's all subjective, right? Maybe his worst movie you love. But I think that objectively, his worst movie would have to be the Left Behind movie. It's a pretty bad movie. It's one that I've seen out of all of his, like, straight to bargain bin, Redbox, VOD shelves. All of that stuff. It's probably the worst one that I've seen of all of his worst movies. The second worst is probably Between Worlds. If anybody's ever seen Between Worlds, that is an absolute disaster of a movie. It looked really cool. The premise sounded really cool, but they do not pay it off at all. And it was kind of off of that Mandy high that he was on. So I was like, oh, he's making good movies now. He did Mom and Dad, he did Mandy. And I was on a Nicolas Cage high myself because I was like, oh, he's doing good work now. I believe in his the projects that he's choosing. And then I watched Between Worlds and I'm like, oh no, this is the same old Nicolas Cage doing the same old crap. So yeah, that one wasn't great. It was not great. If you've seen Between Worlds, it's one of those straight to like Redbox, Walmart shelves movies from the past few years. I think it came out in 2019, early 2019. Let me know in the comments below because it is a ridiculous movie. He's like, I don't know what the hell is going on in that movie. It's like, it's been so long since I've seen it and I like checked out halfway through it, but he's like going between like dimensions or something. He like dies and then he comes back to life. His wife died and he's like trying to find her soul. All kinds of weird stuff that I don't even know. I don't even know. But what is the worst Nicolas Cage to you? Call that out in the comments as well. Sam Jr. said, Ken, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie? It's really hard for me not to say the movie that I keep going back to, and I tried to go through them all just to make sure. He has so many like great movies and great performances, a lot of which I haven't seen. I haven't seen a lot of the movies that he's like, he won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas. I've never seen that movie. I think he was nominated for Moonstruck. I've never seen that movie either. Adaptation, I need to check out. I actually have Adaptation, the DVD of it. And they just came out with a Shout Factory release too, I think last year. But yeah, I need to check this one out at some point. So when I was looking through just all of his movies, there's so many movies of his that I need to check out. And I feel like I've seen a lot, but there's so much more that I need to see. I think throughout his career, I've been focused more on the action and less more of the dramas. So, all right, let's get into some other stuff that you're saying. So, oh, my favorite. I'm sorry, I got lost in my thoughts. I'd have to say Con Air. I had to say Con Air. It's one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's kind of corny, it's kind of cheesy, but I love it. It's Nicolas Cage, and it's a completely different performance than any other movie that Nicolas Cage has done. And I think it's maybe the only movie, at least like his higher profile movies, that he has long hair. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the only movie where he has like the long hair of this type? I don't know. It's got John Malkovich in it, of course. We just talked about John Malkovich. You got John Cusack in it. John Malkovich, being John Malkovich, co-stars in this movie before John Malkovich, so that's cool. Steve Buscemi's in this movie. It's got such a fantastic cast, and I love the action in it. I love Nicolas Cage in it. You know, put the bunny down or put it back in the box, whatever the hell he says. It's hilarious. It's goofy. It's kick-ass. It's awesome. I love this movie. The villains are super over the top, but they're incredible and awesome. Steve Buscemi going to that playground with that little girl. The tension in that scene. I just remember when I was a kid watching it. Just being like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is he going to kill her? Is he going to wear that little girl's head on his head and ride around in 8 states with it? But I don't know. It's a great movie. I love Con Air. It's also got Dave Chappelle in it. A very like young Dave Chappelle, but he is in it as well. So that is awesome. I think somebody else mentioned Face Off, but yeah, that's another great action movie. I don't love this movie as much as Con Air. It's really goofy and it kind of loses me in like the first 30 minutes. It's a really stupid premise. Like Con Air's premise is so sophisticated. But to me, I watch this movie for the action, not necessarily the characters and the performances. Let's see what else we got right here, guys. We got some more people in here. We got Jeremy Guthrow is in here. Welcome in. You got Stubbs is in here. What is going on, my buddy? Let's see. Daniel Burns says, I love Trapped in Paradise. I don't know that one. I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know if I know Trapped in Paradise. Let's see. Sam Jr. said, I like Nicolas Cage and Kick-Ass. That's another one that I have the 4K copy right here. I have the 4K copy of Kick-Ass right here, and it is a Kick-Ass movie that was another movie that really surprised me because at this point, Nicolas Cage was doing a lot of the terrible movies. He was doing a lot of those terrible movies, and this was a good one, and he was great in this movie. I thought he was phenomenal. I love the relationship he had with Chloe Grace Moretz and just the entire cast of this movie. The stuff that happens in the end with him, it's very emotional. It's heartbreaking. Kick-Ass is awesome. And Nicolas Cage is incredible in Kick-Ass. So that's probably one of my top 5 favorite Nicolas Cage films, if I'm being honest. Let's see. Daniel Burness says, fresh out of prison, Alvin, Dana Carvey, and Dave Furpo, John Lovitz pull their brother Bill, Nicolas Cage, back into the life of crime. All right, so that's, what is that? Is that Trapped in Paradise that you're talking about? Is that Trapped in Paradise? It sounds interesting. I do need to check that out. Stub says, I like Red Rock West a lot. What is Red Rock West? I've never heard of that movie before. I might have to bring that up if I can. I have never heard of Red Rock West before. That is an interesting movie. All right. Brandon Gunham's in here. What's up, Ken? Hey, what is up, man? We're talking about Nicolas Cage films. You got any Nicolas Cage films that you love? Leave them in the chat. Yeah, Red Rock, that's like a tongue twister. Directed by John Dow with Nicolas Cage, Dennis Hopper, Lara Flynn Boyle, Craig Ray. Upon arriving in a small town, a drifter is mistaken for a hitman. That sounds interesting. See what I'm talking about? Like Nicolas Cage does all of these crazy interesting films throughout so many decades. Like all through the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, now in the 2020s, and he is still going and going strong. He's a great, he's an icon. Maybe he's not the best actor of all time, but he is a great performer for sure. Like he has to be one of the greats at the end of his career. You would have to consider him one of the absolute greats of all time. Daniel Burnett says, but the siblings' foolproof bank heist takes a tailspin when Alvin gets lost in the getaway car. That's how the criminal nitwits wind up trapped in the snowboard burg of Paradise, PA on Christmas Eve. Awesome, man. I'll have to check that out. Stubbs says, and Snake Eyes. Yeah, I've heard about Snake Eyes. That's a Joel Schumacher film, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I need to check that out. Jeremy Guthrow says, my favorite Nick Cage is either Bringing Out the Dead or 8mm. Yeah, Bringing Out the Dead's another one I need to check out. I have seen 8mm. It's been a long time. That's another Joel Schumacher film. Bringing Out the Dead is Scorsese, right? I believe that's a Scorsese film. Yeah, like I said, I watched a video before this because I was kind of trying to get all the Nick Cage films fresh in my mind, but I'm still missing some. Some ones that you guys are saying I don't remember in that video. But it ranked like all 90 of his films in his filmography, so it was a cool video. Yeah, Snake Eyes I have definitely heard of. But yeah, Bringing Out the Dead, I need to see Scorsese film. Doesn't it have Ving Rhames in it as well? I think it has the Ving Rhames in it. Stubb says Deadfall. Or Sam Jr. said my mic was clicking again. Is it still clicking? Can you tell me? Is it clicking right now? I don't know what causes it. I know I went through the entire stream last week without it clicking once. Let's see. Stubb says Deadfall has a crazy Cage performance. Not such great movie though. Okay. That's not a good pitch though, man. I might not be checking that one out. There's a lot of Nicolas Cage movies that are better that I need to check out. Has anybody seen The Weatherman? The Weatherman's a good one I remember watching. I haven't seen it for a very long time. It's 2005. And also Matchstick Men. That's another great Nicolas Cage movie. Another great Nicolas Cage movie. Let's see. Daniel Burns says yes. Prenham Gunno says, hey Ken, what's up? Love the title. Stub says Nick Cage and Dennis Hopper, awesome movie. Awesome, man. I gotta check that out. Jake Hart Art said, I would say his worst is Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and I think National Treasure might be my personal favorite, at least for now. I think that's a lot of people's personal favorite. I think it's honestly, and not trying to say, I think it's a generational thing. I think that a lot of people that were born in the 90s, that was kind of like their adventure film that they grew up with, kind of like their Indiana Jones, if you will, for like the 80s, people that grew up in the 80s. I think I was a little too old when that movie came out because when the first one came out, 2004. I think I was like 18 or 19 when that movie came out. So I don't remember like rushing to the theaters to see it or anything like that because it was like Disney and I didn't really go see a lot of Disney movies back then, because, late teens, early 20s. But I think I saw it like a couple years later and I thought it was okay. So it was an okay Nicolas Cage movie. But yeah, I think it's kind of like a generational thing with that movie. Predum Gudum says, I am still so behind on Nick Cage filmography. I might have only seen his National Treasure films. Did you like them? Yeah, I liked the first one a lot. I mean, not a lot, but I liked it. I enjoyed the first one. I didn't see the second one. I don't think. I might have seen it, but I really don't think I have. So you haven't seen anything outside of the National Treasure films. That is very interesting. You got to see Con Air. If I had to suggest one Nicolas Cage movie, it'd be Con Air. Have you seen Spider-Verse or Kick-Ass or Mandy or Color Out of Space or Mom and Dad, any of his recent ones? I've got one that I want to talk about before we stop talking about Nicolas Cage movies. I think it came out in 2013, and the movie was directed by David Gordon Green, which is the same guy that directed the Halloween reboot that came out in 2018. And it's called Joe. And it's a really quiet kind of character piece movie. And it's honestly the best performance that I've seen of Nicolas Cage ever in his entire filmography. That's my favorite Nicolas Cage performance is in Joe. Not my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, but I just thought that movie kind of blew me away because it was in the era of him just making bad straight to DVD movies. And yeah, I watched Joe, I think back in 2017, I believe. Or no, maybe it was 2018. It might have been right before the Halloween movie came out. And yeah, it's a David Gordon Green movie, and he also did Pineapple Express and as well. He was doing more comedies. And Joe was kind of his transition, I guess, into more serious subject matter. It's a violent film as well. Very violent. It's also got Ty Sheridan in it, who was in Ready Player One. So it's got a really good cast, really good story, good character piece. I can't remember like all the details of the story, but basically he's like a drunk and he's trying to recover. And there's some things that happen, some murders and stuff like that. It gets pretty serious as you get into it, but it's a really really good movie. It's a really great movie that I think more people should check out and talk about because I don't hear a lot of people talk about Joe when they're talking about Nicolas Cage films, and it's honestly one of his best movies. Let's see. Stub says Snake Eyes is Brian De Palma. Actually, 8mm is Schumacher. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was. 8mm Schumacher, yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean that Snake Eyes was Schumacher. But yeah, I need to check out that. I need to see more of Brian De Palma's filmography in general because I know I need to see like Body Double. What else did he do? There's a couple of other ones that I need to check out of Brian De Palma. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more like director series and stuff like that. Maybe on this channel. I'm already doing stuff like that on my Instagram page, but I'd like to get more into doing some of that kind of stuff on this channel as well. Just talking about like specific directors and stuff like that. So if that's something you guys would be into, let me know in the comments, in the chat, whatever. Let's see. Prena Goodham said, I'm really excited to watch Vampire's Kiss, though. I heard it's one of his most over-the-top performances. Yeah, that's like the definitive over-the-top Nick Cage performance is Vampire's Kiss. So I'm looking forward to watching that one, too, because that's like where all of his memes come from. All the Nicolas Cage great memes of all time come from that movie. Stub says, I saw Con Air in the theater. Awesome, man. You saw it in the theater. I think I saw it in the theater too. I know I saw The Rock in the theater. I know I saw The Rock. I remember that specifically. And I think I remember seeing Face Off in the theater as well. So I must have saw Con Air, right? I must have saw Con Air. It was all around the same time. I was probably like 12 or 13. Stub says, oh, I have Joe in a Nick Cage compilation, but haven't watched it yet. Definitely check that movie out, man. I'm not doing it justice at all by talking about it, but it's a phenomenal Nicolas Cage movie. I promise you. J Cart Art said, I will have to go check out Joe. My brother talked about watching that about a year or so ago and loved it. Yeah, definitely. It's really good, man. Really underrated. For sure. I reviewed it on my Instagram too, like 2 years ago, I think. I can't remember what I rated it, but I know it had to have been pretty high. Tony Movie Chappie said, to be honest, Ken, I actually really enjoy the first two Ghost Rider movies, even though they're not really good movies at all, but they're kind of guilty pleasures of mine. I remember not hating the first Ghost Rider, but I haven't seen the second Ghost Rider, so I really can't talk about that one. But didn't the first one have Eva Mendes in it? I remember being watchable, being fun, but it was kind of in that era where comic book movies were trying to figure themselves out. And, you know, they just did Spider-Man and X-Men movies. It was kind of in that same spot. And there was another Marvel movie with Ghost Rider. And it was like right before the MCU started. And I feel like it kind of got, once the MCU started up, it kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. So, but you know, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the movie, but to be honest, it's been a while since I've seen it. I probably need to go check it out again and see how it holds up. It's probably definitely better than Spawn. I rewatched Spawn from when did that come out? 1997, I believe. It was like some kind of Instagram group thing that I took part in a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the week of Christmas, actually. And that movie is just god awful. It's a cool idea and cool concept, and Spawn looks really cool in it. Like the actual superhero Spawn looks cool in the movie. It's just everything going around him is absolutely ridiculous. And John Leguizamo as the villain in that movie is just laughably bad. Laughably bad in that film. Let's see. Guttum says, can I call you Cinephiles Nation on here? Because I know that's who you are on Instagram. Got him. I also have seen The Sorcerer Apprentice. Loved it as a kid. It's so silly. Yeah, I've heard decent things about The Sorcerer's Apprentice, actually. But I have not seen that one either. I haven't seen it. Stub says, Brian De Palma is one of my faves. Dress to Kill, Body Double, Raising Cain. Sisters, all awesome. Yeah, I definitely need to check out, because I don't even know if I've seen a Brian De Palma film. I don't know if I've seen one. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Sam Jr. said, I watched The Sorcerer's Apprentice when I was little. Awesome. Yeah, because that movie came out, was it like 2011 or something that movie came out? Anybody see the movie Drive Angry? Wasn't that another one he did around that time? Where he was like from hell or something, and he was coming back to do something. I don't know. I just remember that I've seen it. It's been a long time. It was him and that girl, and he like came back from hell or something. He was like a demon of some kind. Let's see. Sam Jr. said, I watched The Sorcerer Apprentice when I already read that. Sorry, Sam. Stub says, I will definitely check out Joe very soon. Awesome. Tony Movie Chappie said, Joe is in my top 5 favorite Nicolas Cage movies. Awesome. I'm glad you've seen Joe. That is awesome that you've seen that. And that it's in your top 5. What is your full top 5, Tony, of all Nicolas Cage films? Could you call that out, or everybody? Can everybody call out their top 5 Nicolas Cage films? I'll try to come up with some type of list right here of my top 5 before we get off the stream tonight. All right, let's see. Cinephiles Nation said, come to think of it, I also have seen the first Ghost Rider. It's so mediocre, kind of a guilty pleasure for me. Yeah, you know, I kind of lump that in with, you know, Daredevil, Elektra. It was in that era where Marvel didn't really know what it was doing. It was just coming out with movies randomly. But yeah, I don't remember it being terrible. I don't remember it being like one of my favorites. So Stub says, Birdie is another one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies. He is amazing in it, and the movie is a masterpiece. Birdie, I heard that on the ranking video that I watched, but I've never seen that movie. So is that one that I need to check out? All right. Stub says, Carrie and Scarface are Brian De Palma films. I know I've seen Carrie, but I've still not seen Scarface. So I have not seen, but I've seen at least one Brian De Palma film, and it is Carrie. So awesome. Lord of Wars was good. Yeah, that's the one with him and Jared Leto, right? Jared Leto was in that one with him. Yeah, that was a decent movie that I remember watching, but I can't remember much else about it. Let's see. You can just call me Pratty. My friends call me that, or Cinephiles Nations. Anything's fine. I'll call you either one. Whatever the mood strikes me, that's what I'll call you, man. But I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. But I got a couple more Cage films that I want to talk about before I end the stream. But you got Mandy. So has everybody seen Mandy? I think somebody mentioned that one earlier. I'm not sure if they did, but yeah, this movie is freaking batshit crazy. And it's definitely one of the best Nicolas Cage movies. It's probably in my top five, my personal top five Nicolas Cage films. He's absolutely phenomenal in this movie. Everybody's great in this movie. This movie is like a visual masterpiece. And it's just so weird. I enjoy the second half much more than the first half. It takes a while to get going. But once it does, once it kicks into high gear, it turns into this full-on like revenge, just like gore fest. And it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, I love Mandy. I think it's badass. A movie that came out that I think somebody just mentioned in the chat, Stub says, I really like Color Out of Space and Mandy. Those were great. Yeah, so you mentioned both of them. Color Out of Space, I was really looking forward to because all the visuals, the trailers reminded me of Mandy a lot, even though I knew it was a different filmmaker. But I was looking forward to this one, and it kind of let me down. I didn't really engage with where the plot went. I thought it went to this just a little too weird. And the performance by Nicolas Cage was extremely over the top. It wasn't even like good over the top, at least in my opinion. I didn't enjoy the cast in this one nearly as much. I didn't enjoy where the story went. So yeah, this one wasn't, it was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. Mom and Dad was another one that came out. That was pretty crazy as well. Has anybody seen Mom and Dad? It was a pretty decent one. I enjoyed that one a little bit. Again, that's pretty much it for the Nicolas Cage films, guys. That is pretty much it. If you have any other Nicolas Cage films, if you have your top five that you want to call out to me, I'm trying to think of what my top five would be. Probably be something like, I'd probably put like Matchstick Men at number 5. Maybe Gone in 60 Seconds. Has anybody talked about that one? At number 4. No, maybe Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse at number 4. Because that would probably be like my number 1 movie, but he's not in it a whole lot. I mean, he's in it, but like that's not his movie. So let's do Gone in 60 Seconds at 5. I do like that movie quite a bit. Haven't seen it in a while. I'll do Spider-Verse at 4. I'll do Kick-Ass at 3. I'll do Mandy at 2, and I'll do Con Air at 1. How about that? How about that? Off the cuff, top 5 Nicolas Cage movies. Admittedly, I need to see more. I do enjoy Matchstick Men a lot, though, too. Probably I didn't even mention Joe. Joe's in my top 5 for sure. Joe would probably be my number 2, to be honest. I would go Con Air 1, Joe 2. 3 would be Kick-Ass. I really love him in Kick. No, 3 would be Mandy. 4 would be Kick-Ass. And I'll kick Gone in 60 Seconds off the list and put Spider-Verse at number 5. So there we go. Whack of the Butcher, what is up, man? What is up? We were talking about Nicolas Cage, talking about the best Nicolas Cage films. Do you have any Nicolas Cage films that you enjoy? You can comment down below. Let's see. Stub says, I like Richard Stanley a lot, so I was happy to see him back directing. What is the other movie that he directed? Because I know he directed something else. I think he only had like one director credit to his name, though, before he made Color Out of Space, correct? Let's see. I think I have to go up a little bit further. With this live, I'm going deep into the past. Seen Drive Angry 2. It has some pretty cheesy action. Did you like it? Yeah, I talked about that one a little bit. I barely remember it, but I remember thinking it was like some schlocky fun for sure. Kind of reminded me of Death Proof, to be honest. I mean, it was kind of like the same idea. I think it had like the same poster at least. Stub says it's hard to do a top 5 for Cage. I'd have to do a top 10. Well, do your top 10, man. Do your top 10. Cinephiles Nation said, I am still on the fence about Mandy. Need to find a mood to watch all that gore and crazy stuff. Yeah, it's not like all gore all the way throughout, but it's definitely crazy stuff all the way throughout. That's for sure. But yeah, Stub says Wild at Heart. That's a David Lynch movie. That has to be crazy. I need to check that out. I've been watching a lot of David Lynch the past year. Not like a whole lot, but I've seen 3 of his movies. So I need to watch another one. I need to see Mulholland Drive still, believe it or not. Tony Movie Chappie said, if you're interested in knowing, here are my top 5 favorite Nicolas Cage movies of all time. Of course I'm interested in knowing, man. Of course. Number 5 is Joe. Number 4 is National Treasure. Number 3 is The Wicker Man remake. Number 2 is Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. Number 1 is The Rock. Man, I forgot about The Rock too when I did my top 5. That would most certainly be in my top. All right, I'll kick Spider-Verse off because he's not a big character in that, even though I love that movie. And The Rock is coming in at number 5. How about that? How about that? Let's see. Whack of the Butcher said The Wicker Man, aka the greatest, worst remake ever made. Have you seen the original Wicker Man, Whack of the Butcher? Have you seen the original one? The original one is a legitimate horror masterpiece that Midsommar absolutely ripped off when they made that movie. And that's why I don't like that movie that much, because it's very apparent that he did that. Cinephiles Nation said, off the subject, who edit your YouTube vids? If it's you, then you're the man with many talents. They look great. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's all 100% me. I put a lot of time and energy into all of my YouTube videos. Like I said, like I film everything on my phone, so I know it's not like the greatest quality, but I do try to at least edit them cleanly. And yeah, it's very tedious sometimes, especially with the longer videos. If you'll notice, sometimes they'll be very edited. They'll look really clean and sharp. And every now and then I'll let stuff slip because I literally have no time to sit down and focus on it. So I'm doing the Instagram. I'm doing this stuff. I'm working full time. I got a family, wife, kids, and all that stuff. So I try to do the best that I can with what I have. So I appreciate that a lot for you saying that. Stub says Hardware and Dust Devil were the only other Richard Stanley movies. Okay, so he had 2 movies, so that's cool. That is cool. Then he was fired from Island of Dr. Monroe. Oh man, that's a troubled movie right there. Didn't that go through like 5 different directors or something like that? It's an interesting story for that movie too. I think isn't there a whole documentary about the making of that movie? Stub says top 10. Whack of the Butcher said, I really want to watch Bringing Out the Dead. Cage in a Scorsese flick is just something I never knew I needed. Yeah, I need to say that too. A lot of people say that movie's pretty great as well. So I would love to do a Scorsese month on my page too, because I knocked off a lot of his movies last year. I think it was last year because I went through a lot before The Irishman came out. Like Goodfellas and stuff. Some of the like ridiculous ones that I've never seen. I still need to see Casino. I still need to see King of Comedy. I still need to see Bringing Out the Dead. Still need to see The Last Temptation of Christ. But I saw like Mean Streets and Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver I actually saw a few months before, but like Goodfellas, The Departed, Wolf of Wall Street's incredible too. So Scorsese has so many great films in his filmography. It's absolutely ridiculous. It would be really tough to do a Scorsese month and try to hit all the high notes because there's so many. Let's see. Whack of the Butcher says, or Daniel Burness. Sorry if I'm saying your name. Is that Bemis? Daniel Bemis. Okay. Con Air is number 1. 2 is Face Off. 3 is Trapped in Paradise. 4 is Sorcerer's Apprentice. top 5 national treasure. That's a good list. That is a really good list right there. I'll give it to you for that one. I will give it to you. Waggle the Butcher says, yes, I love the original Wicker Man, and as the reason I don't want to watch Midsummer. Yeah, Midsummer, man. Especially because I love Hereditary so much. It's like one of my favorite horror movies the past 10 years. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the same director made that movie. And that so many people love it. And they hold it up as this like genre classic or masterpiece that it's not. It's a very well made movie. Very well shot, very well directed. I'll give it that. But there is no substance there at all. There's nothing. It's completely hollow experience for me. Stub says, Wild at Heart, Birdie, Snake Eyes, Mandy, Red Rock Rust, Con Air, The Rock, Leaving Las Vegas, Trapped in Paradise, 8mm. Man, I just want to get off of here tonight and go on like a Nicolas Cage binge and watch like 7 of his movies tonight instead of sleeping. Because I honestly need to get through them. But I know my body will not let me do that. I have been up since 4:30 this morning. I worked all day today, so I'm probably going to pass out when I get off here. As much as, do you all ever do that sometimes? You just want to stay up to watch a bunch of movies, and you get like halfway through the first one, and you literally just can't do it. You can't do it, so you pass out, and it's one of the most disappointing feelings ever. But the good thing about passing out early is if you have the strength to do it, you can wake up early and get started early and watch movies in the morning. All right, so let's see. Cinephiles Nation says, I also need to see Mulholland Drive. So glad you said that. Everyone keep forcing me to watch it. Maybe that's why I haven't. Yeah, a lot of people talk about that movie. Waggle the Butcher said, shameless plug. If you're curious on what else I've seen, though, Ken, my letterbox is Spy the Fly. No, you can plug all you want here, man. This is a plug zone right here on Ken's movie experience. You can plug whatever you like. I believe I'm following you. I'm following you on Letterboxd, right, Rackham? I have to be. Let me know if I'm not, because I need to. Letterboxd, I've started mine. Good transition, but I've restarted my Letterboxd as well. Of course, with the new year, I'm trying to get back into the Letterboxd logging. Like I said, I watched like 7 movies last week. They're all logged on there. But yeah, really trying to get back into that because it's a lot easier to track and know what I've watched if I log it in there. I write a lot of my stuff down as well because I'm a nerd like that. And I've got like a pad and paper and stuff like that. And I've got like specific years, and I write down every time I've seen a movie from like 1984, I'll write it down on the 1984 list in the notebook that I have. But also I just need to be a little bit more organized because it was very tough making that top 25, first time watches of 2020 list that I did, because I was going back through my Instagram. Some of them I didn't review, some of them I did, and I didn't log them all on Letterboxd. So it was so like difficult to figure it out. So this year I have committed myself. I'm going to log every single movie on Letterboxd right away. Like right after I watch a movie, I'll log that shit on Letterboxd. Let's see what we got. Wag the Butcher. Tony Movie Chappie said, even though I love a lot of Nicolas Cage movies, I can say that Left Behind is by far his worst movie he ever done. Just what a god-awful movie. Yeah, especially considering, because I read the first 3 Left Behind books. Those were good books back in the day. They were YA novels, but they were good books for what they were. I was intrigued by them. And I saw the first Kirk Cameron movie. That was an okay adaptation, but definitely not as good as the books. Stub says, I saw Mulholland Drive in the theater, and it was probably my best theatrical experience. Really? That is interesting. That is interesting. You got an interesting backstory, Stubs. I like your theatrical experience from the 90s and the 2000s. It makes me feel like I'm not the oldest person in the room right now. Tony Movie Chappie says, I love Midsummer. It honestly one of my favorite horror movies in the last decade, but I respect your opinion, Ken. That's fine, man, because you're not alone. I'm an outlier on that. Like everybody says it's great. Everybody says it's great, and I just don't. I actually kind of tried to trick myself into liking it when I saw it in theaters last summer. And then I watched it again when I bought the Blu-ray, and it completely fell flat for me, and I hated it. I hated the second time watch. I don't even know when I'll watch it again, but that's fine that you love it, man. We all love different things. Movies hit us all differently. That's the beautiful thing about watching and enjoying film. Cinephiles Nation said, if you have to name one actor that come close to the devotion of Nick Cage, who'd it be? Or who'd be it? That is an interesting question. Do you all have an answer to that? Leonardo DiCaprio? He has to be pretty close, right? Sylvester Stallone? Feels like he gives 110% every time. I'm trying to think. Joaquin Phoenix is a good one. Whacker the Butcher just said, for sure. For sure. He said, no, Ken, you don't follow me, but I follow you. Well, I'm going to change that. As soon as we get off this stream, man, I'm following you on Letterboxd right away. For sure. Backroom Horror is here. It's a new face. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Or ma'am. It could be a girl. I don't know. Hello. Whacker the Butcher said, usually what I do if I want to watch a movie that's long, like tonight, I'm going to start Malcolm X tonight, hopefully finish that tomorrow. Have you seen Malcolm X? Because that movie is freaking great. That's a great movie. I watched that like middle of last year or something, but it was on my first time watch list. It was in my top 10, my top 25 first time watches. But that to me is my second favorite Denzel performance. It's probably his best because it's like him the whole movie, and he's so freaking good in the movie. But my favorite Denzel performance is Fences. I love him in Fences. I love Fences. I think Fences is a super underrated movie because most of it feels like a stage play and it's not very cinematic. But I just like that movie crushed me. Like I cried in that movie and everything. He is so good in the movie. Viola Davis is so good. I love the story in it. It's very personal. It's very relatable. It's a movie I didn't watch back in 2016. I watched it like 3 years later. But yeah, it's just such a good movie. And he should have won Best Actor for that movie over Casey Affleck, who won for Manchester by the Sea. I'm not a big Manchester by the Sea fan, if I'm being honest. Fences was such a fucking good movie. Such a good movie. Stub says Mulholland Drive is probably the best movie made in the last 20 years. You're not the only person that I've heard say that either. There's a lot of people that say that. A lot of people put that as their number one movie of all time. That's definitely one. I need to buy the Criterion for that, if I'm being honest. Maybe the next Criterion sale, I'll buy it and then I'll watch it then. Because I have like 4 David Lynch films Criterion. So I need to complete the set. Backroom Horror said, I'm looking to get that huge Me Slap Me Blu-ray. What is that? Explain yourself. What is it Hug Me Slap Me Blu-ray? Whacker the Butcher said, and no Ken. I already read that. Stub says, meh, Midsummer is pretty empty. I like Wicker Man too much too. Yeah, Wicker Man's a masterpiece. Let's see. Tony Movie Chappie said, by the way, this might be off topic, but I see that you have a DVD or Blu-ray of District 9 in your Blu-ray background. Nice. That's fine, man. Yeah, it's back here somewhere. It's back here somewhere. I think it's over. Yeah. It's got the slipcover. I got this at a half price books for $4. Tony Movie Chappie with the slipcover. That was a great find. That was a great day at the thrift store for sure. Let's see. Cinephiles Nation or Michael Shannon. Stuff says Michael Shannon is an actor who gives it his all. I would agree. He's great in everything. Cinephiles Nation said Leo is a great answer. Mine would be Tom Cruise. Yeah, that's another one. That's a no-brainer. I should have thought of that one right off the top. Whacker the Butcher said, saw it a long time ago, want to refresh my memory. Awesome. Never seen a David Lynch movie. Gonna change that this year, however. Yeah. What's some directors, that's a good topic. Like, what's some directors that you've never seen their movies and you want to give a watch for the first time? That's an interesting topic to discuss. Stub says Lynch definitely rules. I meant Hugo. LOL, dang, autocorrect. So Hugo, now I got to go back up to what you said. Hugo Me Slap Me Blu-ray. Oh, I still need to figure out what movie that is. But all right, guys, we are getting ready to close out this edition of Ken's Movie Experience. I appreciate everybody that joined me tonight. And for the people that stuck around, I have a surprise for you guys. I am going to give away, because I bought this last week. I already showed it off at the beginning. I'm going to give away the digital code for Collateral on this stream right here tonight. The only thing that you have to do, We're going to, I'm trying to think. I'm gonna give maybe three questions. And Stub said I just watched Heat today. Did you watch that for the first time? Because that movie's incredible. And I watched it for the first time last year. Let's see. Before it would have been Michael Mann, but I finally seen Heat. Heat's so freaking good. Hugo, Martin Scorsese. Okay, I got you, backroom whore. But I'm going to give away the 4K copy of Collateral. I'm going to give you all a few questions just to kind of give you all a couple of chances to win. But basically, whoever gets the most right, the quickest, will win the digital code copy of Collateral here tonight. The first question that I have is, who directed Collateral? Who directed the movie Collateral? Call that out in the comments below. We'll do three questions. And I'll give you 30 seconds, about 30 seconds. And however many gets it right within that 30 seconds, they'll move on to the next one. And whoever gets the most questions right will win the digital code of Collateral here on this first episode of Ken's Movie Experience. It's a special occasion. I've got to give something away. And why not do it tonight? Let's see. Stub so far and Predum Goodum are the only two that got it. Which I don't even know if Cinephiles Nation actually answered the question or he was just calling out that it was one of his favorite Michael Mann's films. But I will give it to him anyway. He said, "Can you read?" Let's see. I'll give it to you too, Wacka. So you got Subs, got one, and Cinephile Nation. Sorry, man. You're forever known as Cinephile Nation around here on Ken's Movie Experience. I might call you Pratty like one time though. Every now and then I'll call you Pratty. All right, so the next question is, what is my favorite Nicolas Cage movie? I called it out earlier in the stream. What is my favorite Nicolas Cage movie? And while you guys are answering that, I'll go ahead and go into my schedule this week on YouTube. So tomorrow will be my physical media report. That is going to drop somewhere in around 3 or 4, maybe 5. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting title announcements that I'm going to cover, some rumors tomorrow. So that'll be an interesting episode of the physical media report for sure. We also have They Live on 4K coming out this week. We got Prince of Darkness coming out on 4K this week. A lot of stuff coming out this week as far as new physical media. On Tuesday, we'll be going back into the stores and the Walmarts and the Targets and the Best Buys for the Blu-ray hunt. Then Wednesday, The Train, I'll be reviewing my Kino copy of The Train. That'll be dropping on Wednesday. Thursday will be my top 10 best January horror movies. That'll be on Thursday. And then Friday will probably be my review of Savage Streets starring Linda Blair. And I'll show both of these copies off again right here. But yeah, I got Savage Streets, I got The Train. So those reviews for these two will be this week on the channel. And then Saturday, I'll be back again for another thrifting vlog. So jam-packed week here on the Mid-Level Media channel for sure, guys. Let's see who got it. So we have Stub says Con Air. Whack of the Butcher said Con Air. And Cinephiles Nation said, I joined late, damn it. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. So, last question. I covered what I consider to be a very underrated Nicolas Cage film that more people need to see. What is that film that I covered? And it's directed by David Gordon Green. So I give you a hint. What is the underrated Nicolas Cage film that I covered earlier in the show? Stub says Joe. He got it right. All right. I guess Joe, Stubs, since you answered first, and that is the last question, you have won the digital code of Michael Mann's Collateral, starring Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. Congratulations, sir. Just be sure to leave me, if you have an Instagram, something I can send you the code to, a Twitter. Leave that in the comments section of this stream so I can go back and refer to it. Just after the stream goes off, go ahead and click back on the video, comment down below whatever your handle is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, and I'll get in touch with you and I will send the code out to you probably sometime tomorrow. So I haven't even opened it yet. I still got the plastic on it, for crying out loud. But everybody, I appreciate everybody joining me here tonight. If you can, if you haven't yet and you're in here, go ahead and hit that like button for me. I would appreciate that before you leave. But let's see, we'll kind of close it out. Backroom Horror said, didn't join in time, but I think an underrated Cage movie is Snake Eyes. Yeah, that's one I need to see too. That is one I definitely need to see for sure. So I appreciate everybody who joined me here tonight. We had Sam Jr., we had Tony Movie Chappie, we had Whack of the Butcher, Cinephiles Nation, Stub Subs. Glad to see you guys in here tonight. Backroom Horror. Appreciate all of you all in here tonight. We had, who else was in here? I know, I forget his name. I like to do all my call outs and stuff. Daniel Bemis was in here. Lots of people in here tonight. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys watching the first episode of Ken's Movie Experience. We will be back next week, Sunday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. For another topic. And we'll probably next week, because we have WandaVision, the MCU show dropping on Disney Plus. So we'll probably be getting into that a little bit next week as well on this show. So, because that's exciting. We got a new MCU thing coming out. Like the first time in what, like 2 years, year and a half, something like that, since Spider-Man Far From Home. So we got to talk about that. So I'm excited to talk about that with you guys next week on the stream. But until then, guys, I appreciate everybody joining me here tonight. I'm Ken with Mid-Level Media. I'll see you next time.